and welcome here to TalkFCB, and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, where of course we need plenty more reaction to another special Champions League win for Barca. It was 5 more goals, and today we're going to be talking about the likes of Raphinha, Robert Lewandowski, Lamine Yamal, and what about Jules Kounde? A hat-trick of assists. We have to talk more about him, and as well today we're going to be talking about Frenkie de Jong's performance, what we made of him yesterday, as fresh doubts, though, do emerge about his future. All of that is coming up. Plus, we must talk again about Viktor Gyokeres, who scored a hat-trick against Man City in the Champions League, as the Barca rumours very much continue. It is all on the way for you. I hope you're doing well. So let's do this. Because I would like to kick off here today, guys, by saying a very big thank you indeed for the super thanks coming in right now. This one was actually before the game. Flick's best option is to come with the strongest lineup possible, and when Barca start winning by 3+, that's when we start rotating. That's exactly what we saw out there yesterday. And also, guys, keep an eye on more TalkFCB today. We're episode 2 of the TalkFCB podcast, and it'll be an even longer episode today that will be coming for you soon. But going back to last night, the game that we saw, the goals that we saw yet again from Barca, I've got to say, it was 5-2 on the night. It could have easily been more, though, couldn't it? Barca could have won by actually many more goals. 6, 7, 8, 9, who knows? Because we actually missed quite a few chances. We weren't as clinical as we could have been. And I think the thing about Barca right now that really strikes me in this Hansi Flick team, it's the levels that this team can just go to. They can just reach at any given moment there. Because you look at the first half of yesterday's game, it was close at times. You know, Red Star felt as though, again, they were in the game. There was opportunities for them. They actually managed to score, of course, as well, and it was only 2-1 at half-time, and they were probably all sitting in the dressing room thinking, we're done okay, we're doing quite well here, let's build from here, let's continue to try and cause Barca some problems. The second half arrives, and we blow them away. And this has happened so many times this season, whereby teams, they start to get a bit more comfortable, they start to feel good about themselves, and Barca just go through the gears so quickly. And once that happens, you are not catching us. We are moving out of sight, and there's nothing that you can do about it. And what I would say, guys, is look at the end of the game there, where Barca actually conceded there the second goal from Red Star. 5-2 it was in the final minutes of the game. But look at the reaction, because Barca goes straight up the other end after conceding, trying to get another one. You know, Fermin cannons a shot off the crossbar. Wonderful effort that was. But that's the mentality of this team. If in doubt, score more goals. And we are doing. Because just look at the last 7 games here that Barca have played in all competitions. It goes back there to the Champions League meeting against Young Boys. That was 5-0. We then destroyed Alaves all in one half, 3-0. 5-1 against Sevilla, 4-1 against Bayern, 4-0 against Real Madrid, 3-1 against Espanyol, and now 5-2 last night. And that means 7 games, 29 goals. 29 goals in 7 games. This is an absolutely scintillating scoring run. And indeed, guys, Barca have now made it 7 games in a row, scoring 3+ goals there. They actually joined Pep Guardiola's team from 2010 and Luis Enrique's team from 2017 who did that. And Hansi Flick's team actually only need 2 more games of doing it there, 2 more games with 3+ goals in to tie the all-time Barca record for that scoring run. And this is, by the way, the best goal-scoring start to a Barca season ever. Flick's Barca have scored 55 goals in their first 16 games in all competitions. That there surpasses the 54 that we scored back in 1950. We are breaking records here that have stood for nearly 75 years. And the records are tumbling, particularly when it comes to goal scoring. And that is a testament to what Flick's team are doing. But indeed, guys, what we must do right here is give an update on Pau Cubarsi, because certainly there in yesterday's game, that was the one big concern after he did take there a boot to the face, and it was a really nasty cut that he got. You saw him after the game there, some of the photos that Barcelona posted of him. You know, an absolute warrior, this young man. He's got blood there pouring down his face, and I think we've already seen a few comparisons here to Carlos Puyol. I could see that one coming there, of course, wearing his heart on his sleeve. And I think young Pau Cubarsi, you know, he may only be 17 years old here at centre-back, but but he does already have a real presence about him, a really strong presence, strong mentality, and I actually think here, looking at him as a player, he's got a bit of Carlos Puyol, you know, in his mentality, in his overall attitude, but he's also got as well a lot of Gerard Piqué in him too. You know, he likes a bit of a joke. He's a really good character there in the dressing room. I've seen him lots of times there winding up Lamine Yamal, and he's a really, really good character. And I've got to say, guys, looking at a defender there, if you've got a mix of Puyol and Piqué in you, I mean, that is a decent combination. That is probably the best combination that you could possibly ask for. And all we can hope here is that he does indeed make a full recovery. He's got that stitched up now. He needed 10 stitches in his face there after the game. Those are applied immediately. And there are still a few doubts as to whether he'll play on the weekend. If he was to play, he wouldn't need a mask though, because no bone is actually broken or affected. But the decision on that is still yet to be made. Pau Cubarsi is soldiering on. But let's talk about Jules Kounde, because also there in that defensive line, what a season Jules Kounde is having. And I'm so glad last night that he actually got there, that hat-trick of assists, because all the way throughout the season he's been doing some incredible work. They're absolutely outstanding at right back, and really all these hat-trick of assists can do is not tell us Barca fans what he's been doing. We know how good he is, but mainly to tell the footballing world, hey look, this is a serious player right here at right back. He's been so good. And of course Hansi Flick, we know he is his biggest fan. All season long he's been saying, I absolutely love Jules Kounde. Even after yesterday's game, he said he's a great example to the whole team at Barca. From day one he said, I've always said he's an outstanding player, and once again today you see just how good he is. And Flick really is so happy to have Kounde in his defence there. He's a really key part of his system, and I think those two are working perfectly together, because Kounde after the match actually said, physically I'm in the best moment of my career and I'm very happy under Hansi Flick. He is a top coach, and both of them there have such mutual respect. They're working so well together. And I just want to mention on Kounde there saying that he's physically in the best shape of his career, because he spoke very recently about his routine, you know, about there what he does with his fitness and his recovery, and he actually went on to say that he trains 3 times a day. He said about 3.5, 4 hours I train for, and then I do exactly what the football world demands. He said you've got to take care of yourself there. Self-care is very important. You've got to get a good amount of sleep, and you've got to make sure that you recover well. So Kounde, not only on the field, not only in training, but even outside of all of that, he's putting in the hard work. He is dedicating himself here to being the best player that he can possibly be. And right now, all of that hard work, it is well and truly paying off. But can I just say, guys, Hansi Flick deserves huge credit with Kounde and his form. Kounde himself, of course, deserves the most credit of all. But can I just mention one other person who deserves a mention, in my opinion? Lamine Yamal, because he's actually from playing with Yamal on that right side there, combining with him. The two of them have been so good together that Kounde, he likes playing at right back now. And I think Yamal deserves credit here for ultimately showing Kounde it can be fun out here. You know, we can have fun. We can really enjoy our football on the right together. And Kounde now, we know at first he didn't like playing at right back. He absolutely hated it there. He wanted to be in the centre. But now he's thriving in that role. And the best part of all is that he's actually enjoying it. Speaking though about Lamine Yamal, I think we kind of have to mention that before the game there, a young Red Star, talented player indeed, Maksimovic, also 17 years old, he was very bold in his pre-match press conference before the game when he actually said that Lamine and I were both born in 2007, and he said, tomorrow I will prove on the field that I am better than him there. Very big, very brave, very bold words before the game. And of course, I just don't think it's ideal to speak like that there about Yamal, because we're starting to see this more and more. You know, players are actively seeking out Lamine Yamal. They're focusing on him more and more because of the performances, because of how good he is. He's ultimately becoming the benchmark now for many players. But like I say, I'm just not sure, especially as a young player there, it's a good idea to call him out, because we've seen several times already this season, and the season is only just young. Many things have been said before games, and by the end of the game, he leaves you looking stupid. He will do that over and over again, and he will make you wish that you never spoke at all. And it was another excellent performance from Yamal. I think he was also saving himself a little bit there as the game went on. I was surprised personally that he played the full 90 minutes there, but I think he was certainly resting a little bit on the pitch, as that game went on, just managing his body, managing himself really out there on the field. He is wise already beyond his years. But we've also got to talk about Raphinha, because obviously in this game right here, he assisted the first goal there. Fantastic cross into Inigo Martinez. He was a big part then of Robert Lewandowski's first goal. Could have easily been another great goal from him from outside the box. He smacked one against the post. And then, of course, in the second half, what a goal it was from him. An absolutely beautiful finish there. Just placing it into the bottom corner. Goalkeeper not even moving. And I just think Raphinha's whole technique this season in front of goal, it's been a joy to watch. You look at his 3 against Bayern, the finishes there, the different types of goals. It is absolutely extraordinary. The way that he's striking the ball, it is so pure. It is so beautiful to actually watch. And even in yesterday's game, I just say, probably wasn't even Raphinha's best game. And yet, he still walks away with multiple goal contributions. He only played for an hour, and that's even aside from everything he does off the ball. So even now, when he's not at his absolute best, he's still doing so much. And I think the level from him has just been extraordinary this season. Can I just say, he has now scored 8 Champions League goals for Barca in 2024, including, of course, that sensational hat-trick against Bayern. And just to put those numbers into context there, how impressive they are, it's the most Champions League goal for a Barcelona player in a calendar year since Lionel Messi in 2019. That is what Raphinha is doing right now for us. Of course, comparing things to Messi, never ideal. Don't do that. Don't ever do that. But just to really illustrate here what Raphinha is doing, the numbers that he's being able to put up right now, because in the Champions League, we've been looking for players, since Messi departed the club, to stand up for us, to actually deliver on the big stage in this competition. And certainly with those goals, especially against Bayern, that is what we are looking for. And he this season has taken his game to another level. He deserves huge credit for that. And on the same note, we have to talk about Lewandowski, because look at the kind of company that he himself is keeping as well, because he now is just 1 goal away from the magic 100 in the Champions League. Only Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo stand ahead of him right now in the all-time scoring chart in this competition. And Flick actually joked after the game, guys, when he was told about Lewandowski nearly being at 100, he said, I didn't know that. He said, if I'd have known, maybe I'd have left him out there. I could have let him get 1 more goal on the night. But he was laughing, joking, of course. But speaking of 100 as well, it wasn't just Lewandowski who's on the cusp of a big milestone, but Barca actually as a team reached one last night, because we have now caught our opponents offside 100 times this season. Absolutely extraordinary numbers there. People hate playing Barca right now, and long may that continue. However, guys, then we do need to move on to talk about Frenkie de Jong right now, because first of all, it was very nice to see him getting a start in this game and actually playing there for nearly 70 minutes of the match. And you do feel as though he needs those minutes. Every single minute should help Frenkie de Jong to really get that full sharpness back in his game. And there were certainly some good moments for him. Flick praised him after the game there for his work in that midfield area, and it was a lot better than what we saw against Espanyol. And that goes, of course, for the whole team as well. It was a better Barca performance. But I think what's interesting here is that every single time that Frenkie de Jong plays, there's quite contrasting views from Barcelona fans, on how he played, what kind of role he plays in the team, particularly during a game like last night. How do you think that he performed? How do you think that his game actually looks right now? Because that's the thing about Frenkie de Jong that I want to really keep hammering home here. I do not doubt his ability. I do not doubt here his quality as a player. We see it come through. We saw it in the Clasico there where he comes on. I do not doubt here the kind of player that he is. I think at times all that maybe I doubt is the application of that talent. Because I just look at him yesterday, at certain points in that game, he just looks a bit flat to me right now. And I don't know whether it's because, especially yesterday, he's alongside Casado, of course, who's just so full of energy, full of intensity, that maybe it actually looks Frenkie there look worse than it actually is. But I just think it was a bit lethargic, especially, defensively there. There was a moment in the game where he just had the ball sort of taken off him, and it was almost as though, too bad. You don't see him hunting it down there, trying to win it back, being very strong in the tackle tackle there, enforcing himself on the game. And I guess I just want to see a bit more fight in him, you know, a bit more real energy and urgency in his play. And you've got to believe that that will come, you know, with those more minutes, maybe more confidence in his body. And I guess I still just wonder, you know, what's his overall fitness right now? Is he actually 100% out there? Every time that we see Frenkie de Jong, is he feeling physically ready, physically prepared? Is he completely pain-free in that angle? Or is he actually right now playing through the pain? You know, we don't know exactly what is going on behind the scenes, and especially even more so than just the footballing side. Today and now this morning, we hear yet more rumours about his future there. Cat Radio come out and said there are growing concerns, growing doubts about Frenkie de Jong's renewal at Barca. There is still being, to this day, absolutely no movement at all on that there. The club have presented him with an offer, with something there in mind to extend his deal beyond 2026, but again, no response, no communication, absolutely nothing there has been conveyed to the club. And of course, that's a bit of a contrast to what we heard recently with Araujo's situation. Both of their contracts expire in 2026. Not all that far away, of course, in footballing terms, but with Araujo, we heard maybe there might be a breakthrough coming. The feeling might have changed there within his camp, but with Frenkie right now, we are still hearing just absolutely nothing. And what do you make of his game right now? And what do you make of him especially in this handsy flick midfield? However, guys, speaking indeed about transfer rumours that are starting now to circulate more and more and more, well, we have to talk again about Sporting's Viktor Gyokeres, who I have to say, there was a big audition for him this week in the Champions League. They're coming up against Man City of all people, and I think all eyes were on that game. You know, everybody wanted to see what he could do, how he could perform, how he could apply himself in a game of that magnitude. And well, if that was an audition, he passed with flying colours. It was an electric performance from Gyokeres there. A hat-trick against Pep Guardiola's Man City. That is a serious, serious statement. And I've got to say, the first goal, it was outrageous. You know, I believe that it was intentional from him there to hit that finish there into the ground and therefore over the goalkeeper. That was an absolutely incredible goal there from a very, very tricky angle. And then, of course, people will say, well, in that hat-trick, he did score 2 penalties, which is true. But look, they're not guaranteed goals. And especially, it is not easy to take 2 penalties in the same game. There's a lot of mind games there that go into that, a lot of mental strength needed to actually pick your spot and dispatch it twice in a row. And he did that very, very well. They were really calm, really composed penalties. And also in the same game, well, Erling Haaland, he missed one himself. So penalties there, not easy. It's not a guaranteed goal at all. And I think about his overall performance, the thing that really strikes me the most here about Gyokeres in this kind of game, he never looked phased. You know, that's what I was looking for. It was a big night for him. How he handled the pressure, that was the big question. We know that he hasn't maybe proven himself in the very highest level domestically in terms there of the league that he's in. So this is a big chance. This is a big moment for him. And he really did handle the pressure. He managed it so well. Because at Barca, thinking about him potentially moving here, you know, should we sign him? Should we go for him? A lot of players who come to Barca, they don't fail because they lack the talent. They don't fail there because they're not good enough, don't have the quality to play at Barca. A lot of them don't end up succeeding as signings because they can't handle that pressure. So I think it was a really big moment here to deliver in such a big game against such impressive opposition. And that hat-trick, by the way, takes Gyokeres to 45 goals in 2024. He has 61 goal contributions now. He scored for 5 games in a row, and he has 9 goals in his past 3 games. I could go on and on and on and on. But the biggest thing that I would say is about his game, about his style of play, the more that I see of him there, the finishes that he makes, the runs that he makes, the way that he applies himself in the box, the more that I see him perfectly suiting Hansi Flick's game style there. A deadly finisher. When chances arise, he dispatches them with absolutely no questions asked. And I do believe Barca are genuinely interested, and I do believe here initial talks may have been held there on Sporting's side, maybe even with Gyokeres' entourage. Lots of clubs are interested though, make no mistake about that. But Barca are one of them. We are tracking him. We will have been impressed by what he did against City. And actually today there, in the TalkFCB podcast, we're actually going to be talking more about Viktor Gyokeres in comparison to Erling Haaland himself. All of that is going to be on the way for you guys. But please do let me know in the comments down below, what do you make of this centre forward? Would you like to see him at Barca? If you would, how much would you pay? And also do let me know there, guys, your full thoughts on Frenkie de Jong, his performance, his contract situation, and Barca's overall performance against Red Star in the Champions League. I will see you soon, of course, with lots more coming up across both channels. Now, thank you indeed for the great support. But until next time, as always, verge, Barça.